Hi everyone, hope everyone is well. This evening I am playing Ligny 1815. This is the Jours de Gloire game from the series. I've reviewed this game on my channel already. It is a folio game. It's quite small physical space, quite small footprint, but will certainly take me a few evenings to play through it. I haven't played this particular game in the series for a little while, so I thought I'd get it back onto the table. We'll have a look at the setup and then we'll make a start. And here we have the game set up. So as you can see, the actual footprint of the game is smaller than a standard size sort of war game map, I would say. That has its advantages. One of the things I think I always find with the games in this series, it's normally very quick to get into the sort of the action, as it were. We have here, let's move around the camera a little bit. We've got the French set up on the board here. There's different formation. It is a chit pull game. So for every one of these formations, we'll call them formation for now, color coded. There's two chit pulls that go into a cup. So there's quite a few for the French, and same for the Prussians. So for example, we've got a formation here. In terms of the leaders, Blucher is here, Napoleon here. I've marked the objective hexes with these square formations just to illustrate them on the map just for the video. I'll remove those in a second before I start playing. So we have Ligny itself just here, and there's a couple of other objectives that we'll be fighting over this evening. It is a 6-turn game, but because each formation have multiple activations per turn, potentially, each turn will take a little while to play through, and there are quite a few formations and counters, as you see. It's not a monster game by any stretch of the imagination or anything like that, but it's definitely a couple of evenings I have found playing through this particular battle. In terms of reinforcements, the Prussians have, top of my head, don't have any reinforcements. I will check with the scenario as I go through each turn, but the French certainly do, and they have some sizable reinforcements as we play through. What I will do is at the end of every turn, I'll give an account of what happened in that turn, as well as some thoughts about some of the strategies that I'm playing on both sides. I am playing the game solo, playing both sides to the best of their abilities, and what options that can happen. The last time I played, the Prussians won quite considerably, and they repelled the French attacks. So we'll see how we fare this evening. But it will take me a couple of evenings, so if the lighting changes or anything like that, I'll be playing over maybe even 3 or 4 evenings. I've got a few other games on at the same time. But yeah, very much looking forward to this. It's one of my favourite battles of the 100 Days campaign. And I particularly am a big fan of this particular Napoleonic series, as I have often talked about and enthused about on my channel. So at the end of the second turn, quite a bit of pieces going on really. On this side, the French here, I've got dominance in these hexes here in this town still. The Prussians have tried to push them out here, had some success in doing so, but often were repelled. This particularly formation here in pretty dire straits. Same here, Prussians trying to push the French back, but so far quite unsuccessful. The French have been able to take Ligny itself here, and have got a good control, but there's a lot of Prussians here ready to sort of engage with them. On this side of the battle, there's still a bit of a standoff. Both sides have had a crack at sort of trying to push through the lines, and both sides have been currently unsuccessful. I did, when going through the scenario on this turn, I did realise I should not have moved this formation in the first turn. However, they didn't really do anything, to be honest with you, so not a big deal. And they have now started to move up, ready to engage the Prussians in the centre on here. At the minute, I feel the battle is moving into the preference of the French. I think the Prussians haven't been able to really hold the French back, and they haven't been able to certainly haven't been able to push them back. I mean, struggling to hold them, to be honest. And the Prussians, the Prussian numbers are sort of slightly dwindling. There are French reinforcements later in the day, so I think that will definitely seal it for their victory. But the Prussians are doing. Occasionally, the Prussians will just make some headway, and then the French will be able to push them back, especially here. But everywhere else, the Prussians really are doing the best they can to hold the French tied, but not really. Don't really have enough. Now, a decision I made. Now, again, rightly or wrongly, this is why we play these games, to learn. I held this formation back still, just waiting to see if the French could break through. The plan here is the French break through at any point. This formation here will try and deal with them. Whether that's a good idea or not, we'll see. But that's the sort of the plan that the Prussians are running through at the minute. There have been a few casualties. We also have some routing units as well, and dealing with those. So the next turn, which is 5:30 in the late afternoon, we'll say. See how that unfolds. I predict the French will make more gains, but slowly. The Prussians are still holding on, but I think the French will gain more. Certainly, the French have Ligny itself. I think it'd be very hard with the units that the Prussians have and the state that they're in to be able to push the French out. Very, very difficult challenge for them. So I think the French will make good on here, and I think the French will make good here. They've just got a lot of units coming up, and the Prussians don't think are going to be able to hold them back. But we'll see. So at the end of that turn, the French have not been able to get the breakthrough that they were hoping for. They still have Ligny here, but this side of the battlefield, the Prussians are desperately holding on. They've been able to rally some of their troops and have been able to move this formation here ready to counter the French. I think the numbers are still looking in favour of the French, but time's sort of running out for them. The centre here will say the French have tried to push past Ligny, but so far unsuccessful, and the Prussians have been able to hold them back through some very good die rolling for the Prussians. In particular, these units here, which were causing a lot of destruction, have actually been stopped in their tracks. This side of the battlefield is a bit backwards and forwards. The French sometimes make gains. Prussians have been able to push them back. Overall, I think the Prussians are holding on very well. So at this point in the battle, the Prussians have still got some teeth. They still have been able to just stall the French from taking their next sort of series of objectives. And the French are desperate to do so. And are trying very, very hard, throwing everything that they have. But the Prussians just being able to contain them. And we've got some French reinforcements have entered on this turn. So down here, just off camera. And here we've got some French reinforcements. Next turn, there's a change of leadership for the Prussians. Blucher. A change of leadership for Blucher. And I think there's definitely a small number, I think, of French reinforcements. And I believe the next turn is the last daylight turn. And then I think there's a night turn as well. So the French really do need to make gains in the next turn to try and achieve all the objectives that they can. And I think the Prussians are going to try very hard. At this point in the game, really, sort of most of the formations are in place. It's a bit of a sort of dice. Well, it's not. I mean, this is a game there's not a lot of die rolling really. It's a 1d10 game. You either roll one dice at a time. But I think everyone's sort of in position to make their attacks, as it were. It's a question of who gets what chit pulls in what order, and what die rolls do they get to determine success or failure on both sides. So we'll play through the next turn, probably the rest of this evening, and see where we end up. So at the end of that turn, which is the last daytime turn, the French have been able to make good here and capture this area here. It was quite a lot of fierce fighting backwards and forwards between the French and the Prussians. In fairness, the French only just were able to take this area here. I'm just going to move all these orders counters off in a minute. Middle, pretty much the same, backwards and forwards. French not really been able to progress past the Prussian lines. Prussians valiantly holding on and resisting the French attacks, often repelling them. And then this side of the battlefield, again, French, technically they have to take this hex as well, as they're one of their objectives to see if they can. Prussians really defiantly defending that. So that turned quite eventful. The French have definitely made good and have progressed well. Prussians valiantly, I would say, defending and holding their lines. Still been able to resist a lot of the French attacks. Some of the French attacks pretty non-committal, really, in terms of the dice roll. French often repelled. So a very fierce backwards and forwards between the two sides. Now the next turn is, on the Prussian side, so I should say, we have a change of command. And the next turn, which is the last turn in the scenario, is a nighttime turn. What that means is this costs more movement points to enter an enemy zone of control. Artillery can only fire at point blank targets, etc., etc. And then there's some other nuances on the nighttime turn as well. I think what will happen is the French will just hold here. I don't think the Prussians are going to be able to take this back. And I think the fight really, the scenario really will be, I'll play mostly around this area here to see if the French can take that last objective. They don't, you know, as far as I'm concerned, in this evening's play, the French are the victors here at Ligny tonight. But the Prussians, it was a hard fought. So I'll play through the last turn and see how things end up, and then give some concluding thoughts after the last turn. So at the end of the game, this is how it's sort of formed up. French been able to take territory here, been able to take Ligny, which is the main the main reason for the battle this evening. There are not been able to take the victory hexes over here. There are a couple of other victory hexes that we could have played for, but tonight, in the end, for this game, I really just wanted to concentrate on Ligny itself, this area and that area there. I haven't added up the victory points or anything like that too much. I'm playing the game solo, not trying to game it. I'm just playing for the narrative of the experience. It definitely feels like the French were successful in taking Ligny quite reasonably early mid in the game. Were able to take this area late game and struggled to take this area here. Prussians really defending really well. A lot of the dice often would go in the Prussians' favour, to be honest, looking back at some of my notes. And playing the game, if I was to play it, to reset it all up and play it again, the area that I feel that I probably didn't do the best job of actually was this area here. Never really committed the right troops to it from the French perspective. And my main focus was very much on sort of the Ligny itself in this area here. So I shall write up my notes, which I always pop in the game at the end of every session from what I've learned. One of the things I like about this part of the hobby, playing these games solo. Like I said at the beginning, I'm playing this two-handed. It's not a bot or anything like that. It solos very nicely because it's a chip pull system. So when you pull a chip, you activate, if they've got orders, this unit, this group of counters here, they don't have orders. You can roll to see if they'll do what you want, and you have some choices to make, etc. And each leader can only give so many orders. Basically what it means is you can't do everything with everything on the board that you would ideally want to, which I think is reflective of the historical period. Really enjoyable game. I do like this game series very much. I've covered it quite extensively on my channel. What I liked about this game session over the last few evenings was that it felt quite uncertain as to no one side dominated. Both sides had the opportunity. I tried to take the best advantage of what I could, playing both sides, and played quite differently than the last time I played it. So the last time I played it, from my notes, the Prussians were able to hold on to Ligny for a lot longer, and the French were unable to take this side of the map and that side of the map. So quite different this evening. how we finished up, which is a very enjoyable experience. Doesn't take too long to play. It's definitely, for me, I played a lot of war games over a series of evenings. So I think this has taken sort of 3 evenings to play through, but I'm not, I'm only playing sort of for an hour at a time or whatever. You could play this game, certainly this scenario, in a day quite comfortably, I would have said. You could probably play it in a very long evening. But yeah, that's how I like to play. So really enjoyed it. Great game as always. This series of games, I really do enjoy this this series of Napoleonic games. Got quite a few in my collection now, and often get them out and replay them every time. Yeah, really enjoyed that. It's quite for this what I would say for this series of games. This is quite a lot of counters. There's a lot of scenarios or games in the series that you're not playing with anywhere near so many counters. So there's a lot of things to juggle and a lot of hard decisions to make. And looking back, probably didn't make the best use of these French units here. These French units here didn't do anything terribly. These Austrian units, I didn't do anything too much with them. So, you live and learn always in playing these types of games. Yeah, if you've played this, really interested to hear how your game turned out compared to mine, as always in the comments. Yeah, thanks for watching. As always, take care. Thank you.